My mom was supposed to drive me to school, but I refused and decided to walk out of rage. I walked and walked and walked until I reached a ravine. I went down into the ravine and saw poisonous plants. I knew exactly what they were and how one would die if they ate them. Still mad with rage, I took the most poisonous parts and swallowed. After 5 minutes passed by, my eyes started to slowly close, and I felt this sharp pain on one side of my body rise from the leg up. I then opened my eyes and began walking. I didn't go to school that night.
As I said, I've been practicing yoga and teaching yoga, and also a writer. And I went on this adventure to India. I woke up one morning with a very extreme pain in my pelvis, or in yoga, I would say my root chakra. 3 hours later or so, my brain began to bleed and swell.
I was 18. I just turned 18, and I had just had my birthday, and I went to school, and I was upset about something, and so I left school. I skipped my class, and I left school, and this was in Stratford, my hometown in Ontario, and I went to cross a busy street. And as I crossed, I was struck by a van. So I was taken to Stratford, and then they realized it was a really serious case, so I was moved to London, General Hospital, or Victoria Hospital, and I was in intensive care for, I think, about 3 weeks. I was in a coma for about 6 days.
When I was 19, I went to South Africa, and I was surfing there, and I was challenging myself in every way. Later on in life, I kind of went down a bad path or something. Things just weren't as good as drinking a lot, as partying too much. And then one day, 2 weeks before my accident, I had a dream that I'd be playing soccer and that I'd collide with somebody and I'd be sent to the hospital. And it was just a weird dream. I also remember that I would call somebody just before, while in the hospital, and I think it was to say goodbye. And then the weird thing was, 2 weeks later, that actually happened.
During this time, I had a dream, or I should just say a vision, and the only way I could describe it would be of the void. There was no color, there was no movement. It was just black, gray, and white, and it never moved from that. And I was in this deep sleep. I don't know how long, because I didn't have family with me at that time. But then I felt a buzzing in my head, and it woke me. I woke up.
I cried in private. I was freaking out, going crazy. My dreams became really intense. I started praying in private, saying how sorry I was for trying to commit suicide, asking for forgiveness, to get me out of this dark side, this other side. I felt like I was in hell.
But I had a dream where I was in my bed, and then I saw this little black character with horns, and I looked towards him, and he was towards my left. And then I looked more straight, and it was sort of went from a dark surroundings to like gray, 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 a little bit lighter, but cloudy-ish. Not clouds like big fluffy clouds, but just sort of hazy, sort of cloudy-ish type thing. And at that moment, like, I don't know what it was, but I knew I had a choice. And the choice was to live or die.
In my dreams, I was somewhere. I was away somewhere. I was one part of it. I was away in California. I was with people that I didn't know, but they wanted to, you know, have fun and party and everything. They always wanted to keep things really happy. But I was so stressed out and just panicking because I needed to reach my parents and tell them where I was. There were parts of the dreams where I was just running. I was just running. I was running from something, but I didn't know what it was. I never saw it, but I couldn't stop trying to get away from it. And it was just being lost. It's kind of that frustrating sort of feeling where I knew it's almost like I knew I was dreaming, right? But I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was the life that I was actually living or whether I was just waking up.
I had stopped eating, and I felt my body being very, very thin, like I was disappearing. And I said, right before they put me in the hospital, I changed hospitals, I said, I'm sinking.
The next few days, things started looking different. I noticed some sort of change, as if I'd entered a dark side. My whole surroundings seemed odd. Everything was the same, except I just sensed something to be of an odd nature.
All asked me, do you know where you are? Do you know what happened to you? Do you know your name? Do you know what day it is? Do you know what year it is? Do you know what month it is? Just to make sure that my memory wasn't gone. But they had to tell me a number of times in order for me to fully understand what had happened to me.
I felt as if I was like lifted up from the surface. Very difficult to describe a near-death experience because you don't have consciousness at that point. Right? But then consciousness begins to come about.
Psychologically, it's your mental state that really, I think, gets you through it. Because, you start finding like a nicer, perfect place of peace. Because you have to decide, if you are to die, do you want to die with your last thought being, I'm so angry at the situation, or I'm so angry at the person? Or do you want it to be like, hey, this is good, it's all good. I told every cell in my body, and I focused on it like my mind, I just focused on it every day, that every inch, every cell, every part of my body would fight to live. Because it was a decision. And once the decision was made, that's what I went with.
I saw the hospital room, I saw the environment. I knew that I was in a hospital. All of that started to come back, and I think that was the beginning of my recovery. When I came through that period into that last buzz where I woke up and said, I'm going to be okay, that was the beginning of my recovery.
That's the most frustrating thing now, is trying to figure out what's missing, because something's gone. There's days I wake up when I feel so empty because I don't know what's gone.
It is now November 2005. I don't hear the voices anymore. I don't want to ever try to commit suicide again, knowing how many people I would hurt. Perhaps this is a near-death experience, one might say, or perhaps it's something else.
It was about a year and a half after the accident that I moved to Toronto on my own. It made me just realize the life that I want to live, what I want to do with my life, the kind of person that I want to be.
Why I came through it could be that I did have a strong body, and I'm sure that's part of it. But I think also because I was able to surrender. When I woke up that third time, I was in a state of surrender.
No, I think that event has served its purpose in terms of informing me, and now I feel I'm set to go and carry that as part of my knowledge to pass on, or what have you, to use. I don't feel like I'm stuck living there. I feel like I've been there, and now it's time to go on.
I was planning the end of the year to go back to India. I have this now, this strong intuition that, if I listen to, exposes the truth for me. So my intuition was not to go to India, not to go to Hawaii, and now my intuition is I can go.
Actually, hopefully go to school soon to be a social worker so that I can help people out with these issues and with these problems. It's like that close call with death doesn't mean the end of your life. You have to take your life into your own hands and embrace it. You have to take advantage of the advantages and opportunities that you have in life, because so many other people, you know, there's lots of people that haven't had an experience with a close call, that with death. They haven't been near it, and they don't fully, they let life get to them. You know, they become very negative and cynical, and, you know, they start questioning everything. Meanwhile, there's nothing to question. It's life. You just live your life.
You gotta live life. You have to live life every day, and it's precious, and you have to enjoy the bad things as much as the good things, because they all come together as one.